Hi, my name's Morag and welcome to this video on the Food Safety Hub incoming goods. So the incoming goods is a process where goods are received into the business. So every time that happens, that's typically a critical control point. And when that happens, we go to the hub and we access the incoming goods record. So the suppliers that you see here at the start, these come from the approved supplier list. There's a separate area which is a list of suppliers, so that list is in that drop down there. So we select our supplier, what sort of goods are coming in. If it's fresh, perishable, that normally requires a temperature, so that's something like a meat or a fish, for example. So we put the product that we are testing in there. Let's say we're testing the beef, and there'll be a sample temperature, so that temperature needs to be taken manually and then entered in there. If something's frozen as well, there'll be another input there. So let's say we're receiving some frozen duck, for example. We'd expect that to be below the critical limit. Other things that we receive, like fruit and veg, dry goods, they typically don't need a temperature taken. So if just those ones are selected, then the temperature slider won't appear. Following that, there's a few quality parameters just to see whether the colour and the smell, the texture, any other sort of organoleptic characteristics there. So typically that would also be acceptable. So we select that acceptable. The quantity, to make sure the right amount has arrived. That could be weight, size. So we select that, and then just a final acceptance of the goods. So typically we would be accepting the goods. Now if we're not accepting the goods, if we need to reject those, you'll see another section will come up, and also if we can also be accepting them with an observation. So what the system will do is it will pre-populate the email that's associated with the supplier. So once we submit this, an email will be sent to the supplier. We can include an image there, so if this was from I'll just include a sample there. We can include that, any notes to the supplier here. So let's say that the product was too large to process, or whatever that might be. So a message goes in there, and then a criticality or an urgency around that. So if that's something that needs to be replaced immediately for a service or for a particular production run, or whatever that might be. So we can nominate that in there, and once we hit submit, that will then automatically send out an email to that supplier with all this information, so they'll get that straight away. So once we hit submit, that'll take us back to the home page, and that's the incoming goods record complete.